Hello everyone, it's Marina and Bob.
Hi.
So today we thought of an interesting video to create for you because we celebrating, both of us, 10-year anniversary being in Los Angeles and in California. And it's funny because I think I met you right when I arrived, like in February 2012.
It was
so
very soon after, yeah.
Yeah, it was through a hiking group, so it was really interesting. Since we've been living here for 10 years and we have done a lot of interesting things, including obviously nature, we decided to do this hike today, which is very iconic.
Yeah.
And while we're walking, we will talk about Los Angeles and California, because we know that a lot of people want to be in California or end up living here because of this wonderful weather, but also because there are so many other interesting things to do. And Bob, tell us a little bit about your maybe hiking expertise, because you even led some hikes, right?
Yeah. I, like Marina said, I've moved here at the beginning of 2012, and I got involved in local hiking meetup groups soon afterwards. And within a year, the organizer of the LA hiking meetup group asked me if, I expressed interest, and he was looking for some new hike leaders, and so this what allowed me to kind of share some of the places I researched with other people. Obviously, we have quite a wide range of scenery here, which I'm going to talk about a little later, and so it was a good opportunity for me to kind of share the places that I've found and did some research on good places to go.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And why people move to California? I moved from Boston. It was too gray and cold for me. And Bob, you moved from where?
Yeah, so I moved from Illinois, Chicago suburbs, before. And oftentimes the top reason for many people is weather. And certainly the weather is great. It absolutely is. But more than that is the variety and diversity of scenery as well as climate. I mean, we have, right now there's several feet of snow in the mountains in the Sierra Nevadas, so it's we have every type of weather across the state that you can think of. So I really enjoy that. Every year I go camping in the deserts, in the mountains, along the central coast. So that's one of the top reasons. Secondarily, I like places that have a long history of a creative culture. Even if I weren't living in California, places that have a long history of having a music industry or filming industry are definitely places that I personally find interesting, even if I'm not actually in that kind of field. So.
Yeah, and don't forget skiing. We have skiing available really close
to.
They
say that you can ski and surf in the same day. That would require a pretty long day. I have never done that specifically. However, though, I have certainly within a weekend spent time at the beach and spent time in the mountains, but not necessarily in the same day.
Well, I have done, and it's totally doable. So, but in this particular video, we will tell you about Los Angeles. So not all California, but specifically Los Angeles, and we will combine our expertise. I will tell you more about personal development things and why people from all over the world want to experience Los Angeles, right? And its creative, maybe scenery. And Bob will focus on nature and hikes. So Bob will tell you about
I'm going to be listing about five trails. I'm going to select 5 trails that I would maybe recommend checking out. Some of my 5 favorites that kind of cover sort of a range of different scenery, different levels of ability that I think you might want to check out, whether you live here or you're just interested in visiting. So.
Yes, and I will tell you about the top 5 personal development things, unexpected, that you will be able to do specifically in Los Angeles, and you should definitely try, because it will make your life more interesting, more peaceful, and more maybe fulfilling. So stay tuned. Okay, so Bob, while we're walking to the next destination, I want to ask you, maybe give your ideas. What is hiking to you in Los Angeles, in California, and in the last 10 years, what it brought into your life?
Okay. Well, so I would say there's three main reasons why I hike. Number one is getting out in nature and learning about nature. In a lot of ways, hiking is, for me, an extension of my general interest in nature. When I was growing up, our family took long road trip vacations to the national parks in the western states in Colorado and Utah and Wyoming, and so that's certainly, and I learned from an early age that you can't really learn about nature unless you go out and walk into it and explore it. So there's that component. And then secondarily, I'd say exercise is the second biggest reason. Obviously, it is important to get good exercise, the fresh air, and good exercise is good for your health. And thirdly is the social components. I find that meeting people who also like to hike and get outdoors often, I think, are also fairly well-adjusted people and pleasant to talk to and interact with. And yeah, for the most part, almost everyone I met in hiking meetups are really pretty cool people. And so all three of those reasons are kind of all combined. Yeah.
Thanks. So Bob, what's your number 5 hike?
So this was actually a very challenging decision to choice as to what are my top 5 favorite hikes in LA County. But the fifth, my fifth most favorite hike that I'd like to share with you is the hike to Mount Baldy. This is quite a challenging hike. This is not a beginner hike by any means. It is 12 miles round trip, and it is has about a mile of elevation gain total, but this is the highest point in all of the San Gabriel Mountains, the mountains that are just north of LA. It is a mountain that often will still have snow on the top of it, even until May some years. But it is really kind of like a major goal for a lot of people. And the most common route is called the Ski Hut route from a trailhead called and parking area called Manker Flats. And a lot of people, when they get to the summit, they go down a very narrow ridge called Devil's Backbone to the Baldy Notch, where there is a ski lodge there. So that's my fifth one.
Wow, great, thanks. So Bob, can you please tell us about this particular hike?
Yeah, so we're at Temescal Canyon. This is a trail that passes through part of the Topanga State Park. It is accessed off Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Palisades. It's a very popular trail because it goes up a nice shady canyon and then down a very scenic ridge where you can see the ocean, the Santa Monica Mountains, as well as the west side of LA. And it is very popular, so it can get quite busy on weekends, but it's definitely recommended, especially as far as like if you're just kind of a beginner in hiking.
Okay, great. So what's your number 4?
So my fourth favorite trail overall in LA County, I would have to say, is the trail that follows the Arroyo Seco Trail from what they call the Cajamonga Watershed Park in Altadena to a dam upstream, that follows the trail, the creek, about 4.5 miles. The reason why is because it does, first of all, it's free parking. You can park on the side streets. And it does go through a fairly lush and wooded canyon bottom along the Arroyo Seco stream. And it's a good hike if you want to practice something with a little bit more distance, but if you're still not really good at elevation, if you get tired out easily, this is a good trail to do. Okay. And so overall, it takes me about 4 to 5 hours as a whole and is about 8 miles total. So,
okay, great. Thank you. All right, Bob. So this trail is full of hikers with kids and dogs, so sometimes a little bit noisy. We're trying to find good spots. So it's your turn, Bob. What's your number 3 hike?
So I would say my number 3 hike is down in an area called the Palos Verdes Peninsula. This is a part of LA County that a lot of people don't really know about. It's just to the west of Long Beach and the massive LA port. Although this is a fairly very affluent and exclusive area of the county, there are public parks and public trails available. What's unique about the PV Peninsula, as it's called, is that you actually have sea cliffs instead of your typical sandy beaches, which is more of what people think of when they think of LA and Southern California. There are some places to park for free where you could actually hike down some grassland areas that have been set aside as parkland because they're very landslide prone. And what you can do is that you can hike down to an area called Abalone and Smuggler's Cove, which have really amazing tide pools with a lot of marine life. And it's really quite incredible. A lot of people assume that you have to go up to Northern California to see this kind of stuff. But at low tide, you can find mussels and barnacles and sea urchins and even sea stars or starfish. If you're really lucky and you really look around, you might even see an octopus and some other interesting fish that are in the tide pools. If you're lucky, you also might even see some sea lions. So it's a really incredible place, and it can be a little bit challenging. You got to kind of to actually get down to the tide pools. But it is doable, and so that is my third favorite hike in LA County.
Great, thank you. Bob, what's your number 2 hike?
So my number 2 hike, I would say, is the hike from the Crystal Springs picnic area in Griffith Park up to Mount Hollywood. And I really think that Griffith Park is really a truly amazing place because it's like a little wildland right in the middle of LA. And it is a city park, and it is the largest city park in the country, but you still find wildlife that you associate with like the western states in the US. There's a mountain lion that's there. You got to watch out for rattlesnakes. So you still feel like you're in a wild area, despite the fact that it's right in the middle of LA, literally, and it's centrally located, whether you're on the west side, San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, or the South Bay. It doesn't matter. And so I like it because also it's quite doable. You can park for free in Griffith Park, and there's never really any shortage of parking at the base of the hill. And at the summit, there's a number of picnic benches where you can have like a potluck picnic type of event with friends, and with amazing views. You can see the Hollywood sign, which is different from Mount Hollywood. You can see the Griffith Observatory down below. And you can see everywhere ranging, can sometimes even see as far as Catalina Island on a very clear day, as well as far as Mount Baldy, or even further, mountains that are further east, like the San Jacinto Mountains. So it's a great view. Overall, it maybe takes about an hour to an hour and a half hike up, probably only about an hour, and an hour down if you're hiking at a pretty brisk pace. So I would say that is my number 2 hike in LA County.
Great, thank you. So Bob, what is your top favorite hike?
My number 1 favorite hiking trail in LA County is called the Sam Merrill Trail. It is a trail that starts at a place called the Cobb Estates in Altadena, way out on the foothills of those mountains over in that direction. And it goes to a summit, a mountain peak called Echo Mountain. At the summit of Echo Mountain is this really cool historic site of foundations. It's the ruins of a former hotel that was there from the 1890s to 1930s. There's a lot of picnic tables and places spread out and have a great picnic potluck with friends. You get outstanding views that can extend across LA and across the mountains and even beyond to Catalina Island. And it's a good challenging hike. It's about 6 miles round trip, and I'd say that it probably takes 3 hours altogether. And you really can't get lost, which is kind of the nice thing. Apart from a couple forks right at the beginning of the trail and at the end of the trail. So it's a great place for me personally because it's not too far from me, and it's kind of where I go if I just want to get out and get some fresh air and exercise.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.